In this lesson, we'll be learning about V-Ray two-sided material or translucent two-sided material, which is a very interesting and useful material, and basically it makes the material translucent and allows the light to pass through it. It's widely used to simulate thin translucent surfaces like lampshades, paper, leaves, curtains, and so on. So let's see how it works. Let me quickly show you what's going on in the scene. The only source of light that we have right now is the environment, and V-Ray's sun is turned off, as you can see. But I have decreased the sun's height so the environment wouldn't be very bright. Now let me show you a render of what our scene is looking like right now. There you have it. And as you can see, it's a kind of moody render. What we are trying to do here is to turn this table lamp on and apply a realistic translucent material to the lampshade using V-Ray two-sided material. Let's open up our material editor and apply a simple V-Ray material to the lampshade. And let's set the diffuse color to something like 200 for the value, obviously. Very light gray. And if I close the material editor, we have a V-Ray sphere light with the multiplier set to 2 in the watts units, and it has a warm color. Also, it's located in the center of our lampshade. You can check out the position of the lamp in different views. Okay, now let's turn this light on and take a look at a render with this light on. As you can see, if you just ignore the artifacts the mesh itself causes, the light cannot pass through the object because the material that we have applied to the lampshade is not translucent. Now let's go to our material editor again and add a V-Ray two-sided material to the active view. Now, we'll be exploring the parameters in the two-sided material later on, but right now the only thing we need to do to make our material translucent is to connect our V-Ray MTL to the front material input of the V-Ray two-sided material and apply this two-sided material to our lampshade. Now let's see how the render will look like this time. Now we clearly see the light passing through the shade, and without doing anything else, we have this beautiful translucent lampshade material. Now let's get back to our V-Ray two-sided material and take a look at its parameters. First, we have front material, and this is where you connect your main material, and it is going to be used for the front side polygons of your mesh. Then we have back material, which is the material that we will use for the back side polygons. By default, it's grayed out, and that means the same material that you have defined as the front material will be used for the backside polygons as well. But if you want to use a separate material for backside polygons, you can enable this checkbox and use your desired material here. But for the majority of times, you probably want the same material for both sides. Next, we have translucency, and by default it's set to gray. Using this, you can control how much translucent you want your material to be. So if I use a brighter color compared to this gray color, more light will be able to pass through the surface, and if darker color was used, less light will pass. Now let's take a look at a few renders with different translucency colors. For the first render, I set the translucency color to a dark gray with a value of 25. For the second render, translucency color was set to medium gray with the value of 128. And for the final render, a light gray color with the value of 210 was used. As it is obvious, by making the translucency color lighter, we increase the translucency of our material each time. Now let's set the translucency color back to its default medium gray. The good thing is we can use a texture to control the translucency color. So let's click on this texture slot and choose bitmap and load fabric curtain bump.png. If I select this bitmap node and click on the view image, where the map is lighter, we get more translucency, and where it is black, there would be no visible translucency. Now let's render the scene and see what we get this time. Now we see how this map is controlling where is translucent and where it's not. And finally, using this translucency value, you can mix between the texture and the color. Let's set this to 50, and the overall translucency of the lampshade now will be controlled by both the color and the map. So at 100%, we're only using the texture. At 0, we're only using the color. And when it's set to 50, obviously, we are using a mixture of the two. And as you can see in the frame buffer, compared to our previous render where we only use the map to control the translucency, now we have both the color and the map controlling translucency. And the pattern, the fabric pattern, isn't that obvious this time. Now back to our V-Ray two-sided material, we have multiply by front diffuse. When enabled, the translucency is multiplied by the diffuse color of the front material. Then we have 4 single-sided submaterials. When enabled, which is the default state, the submaterials will render as one-sided materials, and turning this option off is not recommended. One very important note about the V-Ray two-sided material is that it should be applied to objects without any thickness, or basically non-shelled objects like plane, for example. Otherwise, it can result in a huge increase in render time. Now, for the final render, let me quickly add a V-Ray color map. And set its value to 200. And this is the color that we currently defined as our diffuse color in our material also. Now copy this V-Ray color and change its color to 229 for red, 203 for green, and 166 for blue. So now copy V-Ray color again, and this time let's use a cooler color like 166, 229, and 229. Now I'm going to render the scene 3 times, and each time I'll be using one of this V-Ray color map as the diffuse color. For the first one, let's connect the first V-Ray color to the diffuse map of our base material. Also, in the render setup window, let's change the image sampler to bucket image sampler and use 0.005 as the noise threshold. In the GI tab, set the irradiance map subdivs to 85 and interp samples to 25. And maybe we can use something like 1200s for the light cache subdivs. In the comment tab, let's change the dimensions to 1600 by 1200. Also, I'm gonna add V-Ray denoiser render elements in the render element tab. And let's set its preset to mild. Now we can start the renders. And here is our 3 renders with different diffuse colors for the lampshade. We can also check out the denoiser passes as well. Perfect, so that's about V-Ray two-sided material. See you in the next lesson.